Hello and welcome back to the veg garden, where it's time to prepare for the winter. We've got a little bit more clearing up to do, and we've got some seeds to sow and some plants to plant and some beds to refresh. And it's funny, a lot of people think of the gardening season starting just ahead of spring, where it's all hands on deck to sow a bunch of seeds and prepare for planting season. But I don't know if it's just because we started this garden in November 2020 or what, but I always think that the season starts around about now, ahead of the winter plantings, and then continues into spring and summer, and then kind of ends at the end of summer. I guess it kind of starts whenever you want it to start, really. We do a lot of tidying and preparing of the beds at this kind of time of year before we put a bunch of stuff in the ground to overwinter. And so that's what we're going to do today. It's a whole bunch of bits and pieces of gardening. We've got a bit of a plan, but it's a bit of a rough one, so we'll just see what happens. It's the paths that are going to be slow, I think.
There's actually not that much here. I think it looks like a lot, but I'm already halfway down a bed, and I'm doing it on my hands and knees, so... Yeah.
A bit more established.
Yeah, we just go to our local whatever and get whatever, yeah?
That's probably how we do it. Can't wait to do mushrooms. But I will wait.
You have to wait.
I'm not so sure about this tool here. I mean, it would be fine if there weren't also big weeds.
Well, yeah, I think it's meant for the smaller ones.
Yeah. It's not going to go through that, is it?
Some rain in there.
Yeah, I can hear thunder, I think. Almost done.
Yeah, so last section of the top section. We're going to come back and do these on another day because it's a bit much to do it all at once. One thing Guy didn't mention is one of the reasons that we do our kind of bed refreshes at this time of the year is the weather's a bit cooler. Today is the coolest day we've had for a long time, actually. It's about 22 degrees high today. Still warm because, you know, we're active and outside. But later in the week it's going back up to 28, 29. So we take this opportunity to do this. So yeah, and autumn's always a little bit, I think, cooler than the spring. Something else that we will be doing, not today because we haven't got ourselves organised, is refreshing all our paths. So I think I found somewhere to get wood chip from, which is, you might think, an easy task. It has not turned out to be an easy task. Last year we used bark, pine bark, and although it's not ideal because of the acidity, it's fine and it's breaking down fine, and we've tested the soil and it's not a problem.
And it looks nice.
And it looks nice, so we will top this up with another layer of bark just to keep the weeds at bay. And then over where the raised beds are, we're going to, and along the top and along the bottom, we're going to cardboard and put wood chip down in preparation for kind of expanding into that area late next year, I guess. So yeah, we've got to order, I don't know, 4 cubic meters of wood chip and 4 cubic meters of bark and do all of that. And again, we'll have to wait for another cool day to do that because when it's 28 or 29 degrees, it's a bit too much. Weeding done. There's the postman. Alright. Coco, this is not for kittens.
So this refreshing of the beds, in terms of the compost at least, is something that we just do once a year. And that is the entire feeding of this area for the whole year. Everything else is just plants. We don't use any chemicals, any fertilizers, anything. Just the compost mulch once a year. And we've got a mixture of homemade compost and some shop-bought compost for a couple of reasons. One, we just can't make enough compost, and the compost that we are making isn't as good as it could be, so it's something that we're going to work on a little bit next year to try and improve it, get the temperature up, kill some of the weed seeds so we don't bring weeds in when we apply compost. But also our stuff is quite coarse, quite twiggy and sticky, and the shop-bought stuff is very powdery, so they actually work quite well together. And of course the shop-bought stuff has got all sorts of nutritional minerals and bits and pieces that are good for the soil that we may or may not have in the stuff that we're making. So for each bed I was doing about 1 wheelbarrow full of homemade compost and half a bag or 35 litres of the shop-bought. And the shop-bought compost is very affordable. It's only about €3.50 per bag, per 70 litre bag. So not a huge cost at all to refresh the entire garden, at least with these 7 beds. Because we only made the asparagus patch and some of the squares beyond it about 5 months ago, we aren't refreshing that at this stage, but when we plant something in there, we'll put a bit more compost down. So the plan is to put in some brassicas over the back there, maybe 1 per square, some cauliflowers, maybe some different kinds of cabbage, just to add a little bit. We don't eat a huge amount of that stuff, but the plan is to freeze it so that we've got it whenever we need throughout the year. And we do have a planting plan for the other 7 beds, but I've forgotten what it is. So I'll go and consult that and we'll do some sowing and some planting. Oh, look at that. So we're planting fava beans or broad beans in this bed, and the trellising system that we used for it last year worked really well. It was basically just a bunch of posts in the ground with a string around at various different heights, just to kind of cage in all the shoots from the bean plants. We might make a small modification this year and actually drill holes through the posts so that the string doesn't slip up and down and then get loose and slack, but we'll see how we go with that. Just going to try and get the heights a little bit more uniform and then get some beans in the ground. That is beautiful. Have you seen? Yeah. Perfect aubergine.
So many this season.
Okay. It's another beautifully crisp autumn morning here in the garden, and we've got a little bit more to do before we call our winter planting and preparations done. We've got some seedlings that we sowed a few weeks ago, some of which are ready to go in the ground, but there's a couple of things that we haven't got yet, and so we're going to go to the local garden centre and pick up some plugs and some extra bits and pieces, and we thought we'd take you along to show you what it looks like. So let's head to Avalar. So this is not our closest place to get plants, but it is one of our favourite. It's about a 45-minute drive, but it's definitely worth it because they've got a much wider selection than we can get locally, and all the things you need: flowers, vegetables, pots, compost. There's also like a homeware store as part of the same building. We haven't been in there much yet because we haven't really got a home to furnish yet. They've got some really nice gardening stuff. So we've got much more than we came here for. Let's get back to the farm. So welcome back to the garden on a very grey and misty and very much winter is coming type of morning. We started making this video a few days ago, almost a week ago, and I'm sure that these broccoli and cabbages have grown visibly in that time. It's kind of amazing. We're almost done with this winter gardening project. We've just got to get some of the plugs that we bought in the ground and some of the seedlings that we've raised from seed into the mix as well. Now, as usual, we got overexcited at the garden centre and bought more things than we have space for. I got overexcited. People always talk about chicken math and how when you get some chickens and then you get more chickens and more chickens and more chickens. I think I'm like that with vegetables. Anyway, we need to look at our planting plan, which we had done in advance, and make some small changes to it to work out where we're going to put things. And then it's a case of just making some holes and sticking some plugs in.
This bed that we've still got peppers left in, and I think we can leave them go a little bit longer because there's still some fruit on there. Was going to have carrots in it, and we need to get the carrots in now, so I think I'm going to swap that with one of these two beds, which was going to have some of our greens, which we've sowed from seed in trays, some which are ready, some which are not. So we can put some of the greens in around here, and then when the next lot of seedlings are ready, then they can go where the peppers are.
Okay, that's a good idea.
We still have 2 aubergine plants, so we're going to try and overwinter one. So I need to remove one, prune down the other one so there's not crazy. This is going to have leeks in it.
But the leeks
aren't ready, so that can stay for the moment. So other than that,
there's also going to be garlic in this bed, but we haven't got the seed garlic yet. It wasn't for sale in the garden centre or our local store where we bought it last year. And apparently you're supposed to put garlic in the fridge for a few weeks to chill it down. So we'll have to wait on the garlic, but that will go into bed number 3. We number them from this way across. So bed number 3 is all our alliums, leeks, garlic. We got red onions, which we weren't planning to do, so we'll need to find a space for those. And red cabbage and some tall kale. So we've got some things that take up quite a bit of space that we need to find homes for. But maybe all of those extra brassicas can go in this far bed. We can put the carrots into...
No, that's having spinach and rocket and cress.
Ah, I thought that was going in the raised bed.
Both.
Both.
So maybe we do the raised beds first and then we see how much space, how much more plugs we have. It's kind of nice to get the timing right. Those ones are turned into trees and the next ones are ready.
Yeah.
You've never tried transplanted carrots before, but we saw these plugs and we thought we'd give it a try to give them a head start. I have no idea if it's going to work. Also don't really know how far apart they should be spaced, but since they're carrots they don't need lots of horizontal space. It should be good, hope. No doubt these will end up being a bit wonky because we have the Hugo culture not too far down in this bed.
Hi Coco. You come to help, huh? This is not for you.
These beans, do we need to tie them to the stakes or will they just do it themselves?
They'll do it themselves. We can help them though.
Yeah, I see a couple of them.
Yeah. We may need to thin them out a bit as well.
Do a bit more research on how to deal with this plant.
So some of these seedlings are a little bit leggy because we sowed them inside for protection. Oh, that's a bit dry, that one. And they were reaching for the light a little bit. But I'm trying to just plant them a little bit deeper than usual, and we'll see if they work. You may also be wondering why we are planting so many salad plants. We've got spinach, rocket, lettuce, chard, beetroot, which you can have for the leaves or for the root. And for one thing, we like salad, even in the winter. May not be traditionally thought of as a winter crop, but we still get good weather over the winter, so we like to have barbecues and salads and light kind of meals as well as more kind of heavy winter food. But we are also feeding chickens, and they absolutely love green, leafy greens. Not so much brassicas, but definitely salads. Spinach and chard are favourites of theirs, and that's why we're planting quite a lot of it. So something we've not been great at previously in the garden is labelling, note-taking and recording the harvest. And so we're going to try and keep a note of everything that we harvest next season, kind of starting now. I have a feeling that this is like a New Year's resolution, which is just waiting to be broken, but we'll see. But we picked up these little reusable labels at a previous trip to the garden centre, and so I thought I would put some labels on. Not so much for us, but when we're doing gardening videos and we're taking close-ups of the different foods, then maybe you'll be able to see them and be like, oh, that's the whatever. But it will also give me a chance to tell you all the things that we've got growing. So we've got sprouting broccoli. My writing is atrocious. I don't think I've used a pen in months. I should probably write them in Portuguese as well. But I don't know the word for sprouting. Brócolis. Should we do it in Portuguese or English?
Yeah, that way I might actually learn some Portuguese.
Maybe Kylie will learn Portuguese now. Couve-flor. That's cauliflower. We have couve galega, which is like a tall kale. What else? Couve roxa, roxo. Purple cabbage. I have a feeling I'm going to run out of labels. Couve coração, which is like that. That's the hearting cabbage. We have brócolis, regular. I don't know how to spell that, but I think it's like that. Alho francês, which has got an accent somewhere. Maybe 2 accents. That's leeks. Cebola roxa. Red onion. Yeah, I've only got 2 labels left.
I can do one.
Yeah.
Pak choy.
Pak choy. What is the Portuguese for pak choy?
I'm sure it's pak choy. That's where I can do it.
Pak choy. Do we have any more of these labels? No.
There's another packet.
Oh, okay, cool. I've used all of them. Feijão fava beans, or broad beans if you're English. Many types of beans. Rúcula, alface, espinafres, pimentas, pimento or pimentas. It always gets messed up by the gender stuff. Relating to languages anyway. Chard, got no idea what that is in Portuguese, someone will tell me. We're going to call it chard. And cenouras. And we planted our carrot plugs, but we still have our carrot seed to do. And I think that is the last thing that we'll do today.
Right, so we're getting the sun in our eyes now, so we're very quickly moving on to the last thing, which is putting some carrots in. Now, if you watch us all the time, you know that we tried a carrot trial in the raised beds. We got loads of comments and a couple of very useful tips. One, which is once you plant the carrots, to water them in and then put these boards over, and that keeps pests and all kinds of animals away, but also keeps them nice and dark and moist. So we're going to do that. These are offcuts of spruce from
The shed build, I think.
or the chicken coop, probably. Yeah. So we'll use those. And the other tip we got was, there was quite a few about how to do the carrot seeds because they're so small. One was using a piping bag, which we don't have. The other one was using sand and intermixing the seed into the sand and then sprinkling that. So Guy's going to try that method today and we'll see how we go.
So we're going to do a whole bed here of carrots. We've got 2 varieties, one which is a purple carrot, which is supposed to be sowed at this time of year. The other one's a fairly typical orange carrot, which probably should have been sown already, but we're only like a couple of weeks late. But we had no luck with them in the spring, so hopefully the autumn over winter is going to be better for us. Well, the only downside of this is I have no idea how evenly the seeds are distributed. I think the second half I will do freehand. Will it work? Nobody knows. Well, other than the people who've done it successfully before.
Like everything we do.
Yeah, like everything. We'll see. So we'll get these carrot seeds watered in nicely and then put the boards on top. Of course, we've also got the drip irrigation, which we can turn on a bed by bed basis if we need to keep things moist. That's the trouble with carrots. The seeds need to be kept moist for almost 3 weeks for germination. So we'll keep an eye on them. We'll open the boards every now and again, see if anything's popped up. And as soon as we see green, we'll remove the boards and let them grow. We're also planning to interplant some garlic in here. A, because of space. B, because apparently moles and voles and other burrowing creatures don't like things in the allium family, garlic, onions, leeks, that kind of stuff. So we're hoping that's going to keep the little buggers at bay. So we actually get some carrots, because I quite like purple carrots. It'd be a a nice addition to the dinner table. But I think that is pretty much it today, although it wasn't just today, it was many days of a little bit of work here and there. So we're going to get all of this garden watered in and then pack up and enjoy the rest of the weekend. We hope you do too, and we will see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye.
Getting a bit slow on the uptake there, mate.
Busy?